What's up, everybody? This is EJK, and today I'm bringing you guys another game between Tscmoo is going to be the Protoss player. Cool. And on the top left-hand side is MicroMachine. Fortunately, the names are not displayed properly because this was played via the ladder manager and not via the actual SC2 ladder. So think of this as a custom game. Kairos Junction is a very large map. Both players spawning in opposite corners means that there is a diagonal rush path, making it a very long distance. There's no watchtowers either, and it looks like there's one area for the Reaper to jump up in, not including the areas at the natural. The natural itself is huge. It just feels really huge. Overall, a pretty big map to play a macro game on. I like this little pitter-patter that you see from the probe. That's cool. I'm not sure what the probe is looking for. Perhaps it was checking for a hatchery if it was a Zerg player. Also going up all the way here to scout. This probe is being very active in scouting, in fact. MicroMachine is starting what looks to be a wall off. That's pretty cool. Seeing some updates to the play. This is going to be really important going forward because Protoss players really like their adepts, and the only way to stop adept shades is to have a wall off of some sort. A second probe comes out on the map. So Tscmoo bot is the first bot that I've seen that actually utilizes an adept. It's very interesting to see how it gets used. Constantly using the adept shades. Looks like there's never a reason to keep them on cooldown. I guess that makes enough sense. Ooh, gonna trap another and kill another Reaper. Tscmoo's going for a fast expand. A 3-gate fast expand, I should say. It's very safe, conservative play. Only having the one gas, constantly making the probes so that the natural base can be saturated as fast as possible. It's like this Reaper is going to get out alive. On the other side, we see that MicroMachine has finished its wall off. Not the best place to have the starport because the adept itself, it's too close to the wall so that units, when they get up to the wall like this, they can scout the starport and cloak is being made. And you're basically giving away your build. If you build the starport some place further away where there's where it offers no way to see, then you're a lot safer in that regard. MicroMachine's expansion is getting denied really hard. A lot of teasing going on here. Trying to get that SCV to build the command center, and at the same time preventing the shades from going in. MicroMachine is losing a lot of workers though, trying to get this SCV to build the command center, and I've noticed that's a big weakness in its play that can be exploited, is it prioritizes building the command center a lot. Looks like the wall off shenanigans do not work anymore. Can this Banshee cloak up in time? Gets cloaked, but now the Protoss player is in the base of the Terran player, and MicroMachine's in a little bit of trouble here. The Hellions look like they're kiting away from the Stalkers, too afraid to actually attack them. That's not good. These Hellions really, ideally, would be attacking the Stalker right now, but they do not want to. They refuse. Their stark refusal calls for treason. MicroMachine repairing the Banshee, that's good play. Although, having this many SCVs repair that Banshee, that was 6 SCVs that went off mining time, and MicroMachine only has 18 SCVs with a single mule. What this means for the economy is that MicroMachine is operating on less than a 1 base economy at this moment. 1 base economy is defined as having full saturation in your minerals and your gas. And, oh my gosh. At this point, MicroMachine can't even afford to heal up this Banshee all the way, having to pause before resuming mining, not continuing SCV production as well. Taking a look at the other side of the map, Tscmoo has a little bit better saturation, but still not the saturation that we're used to seeing from human players. You can see that there's a worker count, and you want to try to optimize that as much as possible. Well, this Banshee is not using Cloak, instead choosing to simply run away. And without this 16 and 16 SCV or probe count, you're leaving a lot of minerals on the table that could possibly be mined. Furthermore, Tscmoo is starting to accumulate a lot of minerals. Doesn't have a forward pylon either. Here's a probe, but it doesn't appear to want to build one. And these Banshees are really saving MicroMachine right now because there is no cloak detection. In fact, there is a robotics facility, but it looks like there hasn't been any observers that have been made yet. These Hellions need to get in the fight. They don't want to fight. And these SCVs, again, being pulled off mineral lines, you saw that the mineral worker count go down to 1 very slightly. And when you're on 7 out of 16 SCVs, 4 out of 16 mining, this mineral income is absolutely horrible. You should never be behind as a Terran player like this, let alone being behind in any sort of game. Both races should have relatively even stats. Well, these Banshees are out of cloak, and there's not enough minerals to make more Banshees. Things are starting to look pretty dicey for Tscmoo, or for MicroMachine, I should say. Those SCVs just wasting a lot of minerals. Look at that, you have 400 mineral income for another 5 seconds before resetting your SCVs. More SCVs repairing. I wish there was a statistic that showed exactly how much mineral income is lost from these SCVs being idle. I think there's actually an SCV idle time, but that wouldn't include the repairing that goes on. More SCVs repairing. And repairing itself isn't bad, but over-repairing is where this becomes an issue. Meanwhile, Tscmoo is streaming units across the map here. Streaming units across the map. A forward pylon would have prevented all of that, and honestly probably would have ended the game at this point, because these Banshees are these Banshees have no cloak, there's no economy to speak of for MicroMachine, and Tscmoo's army is huge compared to MicroMachine. Plus the army composition itself, there's only Banshees, and if they get cleaned up by the Stalkers, there's nothing left to actually deal damage against the Protoss army. Tscmoo finally has that full 2 base saturation, and we see that reflected in the mineral income. Tscmoo is going to be rolling in economy very shortly. Banshees are doing a pretty good job against the Stalkers. Like I said earlier, they're the only DPS dealer that MicroMachine has, and if the Banshees get countered in any way, there is nothing left for MicroMachine to actually fight with. Hellions are not great against most types of units. Wow, 3 observers kind of sailing by. Although the observers is not, so there is detection out on the map, but these observers are not a part of the army, interestingly enough. My god, this error is annoying. Banshee Cloak has upgrade Banshee Cloak unit type, Terran Starport Tech Lab. It's because the upgrade is already complete, I believe. The cloak upgrade, unless I was talking about the hyperflight rotors perhaps as well. So these Banshees are actually tearing apart the Stalkers and the units one by one because there's no detection from Tscmoo. And unfortunately, these observers are not really being very useful here. Great map vision from Tscmoo. Why? What purpose does this serve? We see Tscmoo has lost a lot of resources to these Banshees. Wow. 16 kills on that Banshee, and they're all high quality units here. Tscmoo going for another attack? Not really. Blink is being made. That's a good upgrade. Also, Forge has been completed, but we haven't seen any cannons yet from Tscmoo. Blink really shuts down any Banshee play, even if you have... Oh, that's some nice micro there. Not sure if it's intentional or not, stacking those Banshees up to maximize their... or minimize their surface area. I think it was just intentional, but the target firing is kind of nice. I think it's unintentional. I think that was unintentional as well. So look at this. These Stalkers could easily defeat these Banshees in a one-on-one if they had some sort of detection. Looks like now this observer is starting to head back. No additional observers are being made, in fact. Templar Archives was also completed, but it looks like this bot is starting to run out of ideas. The gas has not been taken, so that tells us that it's not going to go into Archon building, or at least it can't effectively do that. And also, gas isn't being prioritized into the observer for the robotics facility to actually shut down these Banshees. No cannons are being made either, and there's simply just nothing you can do against this type of play from the bot's perspective. And it looks like although MicroMachine was in a rough situation early on, Cloak again wins the day. Where are the observers? Have they... No, they're just kind of floating around. I'm kind of curious about why, what triggers them to move around, along with these units too. What are they doing? What is the probe doing? Darn. Well, Tscmoo's probe defense is not that great either. Tscmoo is now no longer mining anything. There was a Banshee in the main base that shut down the probes. Probes being retreated from the third base straight into more Banshees, and Tscmoo has run out of options, and this is going to be the beginning of the end. Yikes, this upgrade is still going. There's no more upgrades in this tech lab, or in the, for the starport. You got, or for the Banshees at least, you got cloaking field and you got hyperflight rotors. Oh, third command center being built. That's pretty nice. Although, I think the better third command center would be this location because it's further away from your opponent, from your opponent's attack path. Having a third command center over here, means that there's a much shorter distance that you can attack from, all the way from the natural. What do I? No more upgrades being made from the armory. And look at this income disparity between the minerals and the gas. It's because there just hasn't been a very strong mineral income this entire game. I don't think I ever saw MicroMachine reach over... I mean, it's finally reaching that over 2K mineral income, but it's been a while. It looks like these SCVs are trying to mine from an empty refinery still. That's not great. Idle SCVs. Way too much oversaturation here. So MicroMachine's limited by its capabilities, its macro capabilities going into the later stages of the game because the economic setup is not ideal. However, these Banshees just did a great job. And GG is called.